day everyone, my name is Bumi Oyebade. This lecture is coming from Crotch Fashion School. Today I would like us to look at cotton of native shokoto. In the previous class we looked at the sketch of native shokoto, the measurement and the calculation of native shokoto. But we didn't cut it that day. That is why I'm here today to do the cutting. We are going to cut it the way it should be, the native shokoto. So the first thing we have to do is the cutting of the front view. Like we want to cut the front view of native shokoto. And we want to be taking these measurements one by one. We are going to make use of all these measurements one by one. Now, the length, the calculated length of our native shokoto, as you can see, the normal measurement of customer is 40 plus 2. This 2 is meant for the upper part of the shokoto. Then the down part, we are going to fold 3 at the down part of native shokoto. So when we add everything up, it gives us 45. So we are going to have 45 for our length. 45. We are going to manage this 41 because our bust size is not up to 45. The bust size is not up to 45. So let us assume that this is 45. So length, this L represents length, is equal to 40 plus 2 for the upper part and plus 3 for the lower part. So everything is 45. Everything is 45. So the calculated length of this native shokoto is 45. Now we move at the upper part of our native shokoto. We normally measure we're supposed to measure waist. But this is not trouser, this is not English trouser. So we are going to make use of the hip measurement from up. It's going to open from up. So when we now insert the elastic, at the upper part, it's going to string together to form the waist of the customer. So we are not going to make use of the waist right now. That is why I said waist is equal to 30, constant for elastic. The reason why we have to measure the waist is for us to see the measurements we are going to use for cutting of elastic. So here now, instead of measuring the waist at the upper part, we are going to make use of the hip measurement at the upper part. So the calculated hip here is 10 and a half. 10 and a half. 10 and a half. This is 10 and a half. So we are now going to say hip measurement is equal to 10 and a half. 10 and a half. Now we want to look at the crotch length, the crotch depth length. That is the crotch that we normally use for the older people. That is, it's not the small children. We are talking about the adults now. The crotch length that we normally use is 11. The crotch length that we normally use is 11. So when you now add the 11 plus 2, the 2 that you are going to fold at the upper part is now going to give us 13. So this 13 now will serve as our crotch depth length. The crotch depth length. So it's 13 inches. So this one now is telling us that this is where we have DC, or the crotch depth length. You can call it any name, either distance calculation or crotch depth length. So we have DC, distance calculation is equal to 11 plus 2. That is equal to 13. 11 is the normal crotch depth length for an adult. Then the 2 is meant for the upper part. We are using it to bend the upper part for elastic. Now this one is telling us that this is where to measure our lap. We are going to measure the lap at this point. We are going to measure our lap at this point. So the calculated lap here now is 12 and a half. So from here, you are going to have 12 and a half. This is where there are 12 and a half stops. So we have lap is equal to 12 and a half. Then you'll be coming from up because hip is 10 and a half and this is 12 and a half. So we are now going to do it this way, just like the way we are cutting our armhole. Now this is our lap measurement. The calculated lap is 12 and a half. Now we move to the next measurement, which is the knee length. We are going to have the knee length because you cannot get the knee tight without having the point of the knee length. So the knee length, the calculated knee length is now 24. The calculated knee length is 24. So we are going to have our knee length to give us 24. Why is it 24? The normal knee length is 22. But we are going to add these two. The two we are using to bend the upper part, to fold the upper part for the elastic. We have to add it up to that our 22. Because if we don't add it, our knee length is going to jump up by the time we fold the upper part for elastic. So it's not going to stay at the shape is not going to be where it's supposed to be. So that is why all the sewing allowance should be added to all the calculated measurements. So we have 22 plus 2. It gives us 24. So this one is telling us that at this point, this is where to measure our knee tight. So our calculated knee tight now is 9.5. The calculated knee tight is 9.5. Then you bring it to come and join this 9.5 here. Then we have from here to this place, we have knee length. We have knee length. Knee length is equal to 22 plus 2. That's equal to 24. Now we now have the knee tight. Knee tight is equal to 9.5. This is where the knee tight stops. Now we move to the down tight. The down tight, now you move down to the lower part of the shokoto. You move down, so the down tight is giving us 8. The down tight is giving us 8. Then you now bring it down to that 8. You bring your shokoto down to that 8. You now say down tight. Down tight is equal to 8. Down. So the down tight of this shokoto is 8 inches. 8 inches, as you can see here, 15 is the roundness of the down tight of the customer, divided by 2. That is equal to 7.5 plus half. That is equal to 8. If you really want to get this calculation very well, please go to my YouTube channel. Go and watch, but make sure you subscribe and make sure you like my page. God bless you. Now, this is the front view of the cutting of a native shokoto. Now we want to move to the. Now we are moving to the back cut of native shokoto. This is the front cut of native shokoto. So this front cut is cut in 2 folds. It's cut in 2 folds. Now we move to the back cut of native shokoto. Now, at this back, we are going to have a sewing allowance. We are going to have a sewing allowance first. The length that we will be using from the front, the length is equal to 40 plus 2 plus 3. That is equal to 45. So the length of this back at the front is 45. Now, we first of all leave the sewing allowance. So we are going to, for the purpose of this class, I want to manage 2.5 for my sewing allowance. I want to manage 2.5 for my sewing allowance. That is the first thing you have to leave straight down. Sewing allowance, straight down. So we are leaving 2.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So we have 2.5 for the sewing allowance. For the sewing allowance, 2.5 for the sewing allowance. Now, I want to, after the sewing allowance, we will now go to the proper measurement. I said we are going to make use of hip measurement from upper parts. We are not going to measure waist measurement at the upper part, because this waist measurement we are going to use it in cutting our elastic. So let us move to cutting of the hip measurement. The hip measurement is 10.5. 10.5. Now say hip is equal to 10.5. Hip is equal to 10.5. So this is the 10.5. Now I said the crotch length, the crotch depth length that we are going to use, or the distance calculation, is 11. So plus 2 that we are using to bend the upper part for elastic, it will now give us 13. So from up here, we now measure 13. DC or crotch length, DC or distance calculation, is equal to 11 plus 2. That is equal to 13. So this is where to measure the lap. We are going to measure our lap measurement. The lap is 12.5. The lap is 12.5. Then from up, make sure you cut it very well. You cuff it very well. So we have lap is equal to 12.5. Lap is equal to 12.5. Now we are going to measure the knee length. The knee length. You cannot have the knee tight without having the knee length. You cannot have the knee tight without having the knee length. So we are going to make use of the knee length. So the knee length here now is 22 plus 2. 22 plus 2 making 24, because you are going to add that 2 for the upper part with it. So this is where to measure our knee tight now. Our knee tight is 9.5. Knee tight is equal to 9.5. Then we bring our shape down. So from here to this place, from up to this place is knee length. Knee length is equal to 22 plus 2, that is equal to 24. 22 plus 2, that is equal to 24. Now we move to the down tight. The down tight is 8 inches. The down tight, you start your measurement from this place, because this one is meant for the sewing allowance. So you are not going to start your measurement from this place. You start from the second line. You are going to start from the second line. So the down tight is 8 inches. So down tight is equal to 8. Then from up, you bring your shape down, the shape of your shokoto. You bring it down, just like that. You bring it down just like that. So we have this one is cut in 2 folds. Now there's something called crotch extension, crotch depth extension. So here you are going to extend this one to 2.5. You are going to add 2.5 to this place. Then from the upper part you are going to add 1.5 because of the bottom. 1.5 because of the bottom. Then you will come in from up. You come here. You extend it to this 2.5 here. Let me clean this one so that we'll be able to see what I did there very well. Let me clean this. From this place, I added 2.5 to this place. The reason why I added 2.5 to this place is that for the owner of this shokoto, that is the wearer, to be able to move the leg very well, the person should be able to move the leg very well. So that is why we are extending this place. So this 1.5, we are going to add 1.5 to this place plus 1.5 plus 1.5. Because of what? Because this one is back cut, this one is front cut. At the back, we normally have a button. We have the bumble at the back. We have bumble at the back. So that is why we are adding to the back, so that it will not be too tight. So the reason why we are adding 1.5 to this place, to the back place, is because of our bumble at the back. So here is the lap extension. That is, the person should be able to move. Will be able to move the leg as long as possible, as extend as possible. So that is why I'm adding 2.5. This place we are going to add 2.5. So my 2.5 will stop at this place. Then from here, you now join your 2.5 to this place. It will now give you this shape. It's going to give us this shape by adding the 2.5. I added 2.5 to this place. Then here 1.5 to this place, just because of our bumble. So that it should not be too tight. Because if you observe the front, nothing is at the front. But when you look at the back, the back of our back, you see that our bumble shoots out. So that is the reason why you have to add to this place, because it's not going to have the same measurement with the front. So this is the back part of our native shokoto. So this is the back part of our native shokoto. You want to advise you, be watching my video on the YouTube. That by doing that, you are encouraging me to do more. And when you watch, don't watch alone. Like my page, share and subscribe to my page. By doing that, you are encouraging me to do more on this. God bless you.